Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Powered by Precision podcast, episode 2, or technically probably the first proper episode, really, with the last one being a bit of an introduction. I'm joined again by Julian, and today we are going to talk about lockdown and fitness, health, mental health around pre, during, post lockdown. So let's just kick us off, Julian. So prior to COVID-19, prior to lockdown, how was your fitness? What was your fitness? Sort of what did it look like for you?
Yeah, well, first of all, hello everyone. Thanks for joining in. So I think prior to COVID, sort of going back that far, January, February, mid-March, so talking about the beginning of the year, obviously quite cold, so a lot of indoor stuff. So for me, there's probably a bit more time in the gym than I'd normally go and do, so a little bit of weights and sort of strength work. And I was feeling okay. I wouldn't say I was doing a tremendous job, but doing all right with that, and a little bit of other areas. So I'd have said beforehand, kind of moderate, really. So sort of steady as she goes, nothing particularly dramatic either way. And obviously that all came to change, didn't it? Once we get into the
and if you were sort of thinking, so I would agree with you. Obviously, when the weather's not so great, people tend to be a bit more indoor anyway, a little bit more relaxed. Business-wise, for me, pre-lockdown, it was sort of going quite nicely. Fairly good few clients, everyone working hard and getting into it. I would say we were all just building up to the summer point, to the spring, to the summer, thinking, right, I tend to work on, in the winter we'll go shorter sessions, and then we start bringing them back longer and longer and longer through the spring and summer. And I do that in my own training as well, really. It's quite no one wants to be outside for long periods of time when it's cold, when it's windy, when it's snowy, icy, that sort of thing. So yeah, I would agree. But if you're sort of thinking, maybe it's not pre-lockdown, sort of in a normal world, if that's one of a better term, a new normal and everything going on now. So what would your training sort of look like in this time of year if you were not locked down?
Yeah, so in a normal circumstance, not a million miles from what I'm doing, to be quite honest. So I like tennis, so I would be looking to play 2 or 3 times a week. And playing reasonably high intensive for a couple of hours. So that's a pretty good combo on the sort of cardio front and kind of gets you going that way. And then I would have probably mixed in, there's outdoor swimming pools and things like that. So I'd kind of use those for a little bit of a sort of all-round workout. I'm a terrible swimmer, but I try and force myself to do a bit of that.
Outdoors as well, great man.
Yeah, and given mind what you do, then I suppose you probably want to focus on that a bit. So so I do a little bit of those to kind of go mix that back in and really to cover it. But you're right, Mike. So for me, it's probably winter months. You're trying to build a little bit of strength up and kind of do preparatory work, and then hopefully you're able to go and do that. The one thing I've tried to do a bit more now, which I haven't done before, is I do a little bit of Tai Chi and Pilates and some of those sort of things. So I think in the summertime when you're doing more sort of competitive stuff, just trying to make sure you're doing enough of the stretching and the other things. Not that I don't do it, but
mobility stuff is definitely key, and it's definitely something that's neglected for a lot of people. I find with clients, obviously I'll put stretching in before and after sessions, but when you sit people do anything in between sessions, do you do anything as just a daily routine? Everybody, and it's trying to, especially the older you get, you sort of need that bit more flexibility, you need that bit more mobility. So if you carry on stretching, then you're going to reap the benefits. Basically, if you're more flexible, you're going to be stronger, you're going to be fitter, you can go for longer in all life. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree, Mike. And I suppose the bit that would be, again, as you get a little bit older, particularly for men who I think for some elements of flexibility are pretty bad. So I try and do a bit of Pilates from time to time and used to go to classes and obviously can't do that at the minute. Yeah. And I'd turn up and it'd be me and probably mostly a class full of women. And actually from a flexibility point of view, it sounds like a stereotype, but I'm not completely stiff as a ball, but not far off it.
No,
it's not great. So I try and make sure I add a bit of that into the mix. So I think that makes a big difference. I don't do anywhere near enough of it, to be quite honest, but I try and stick with those kind of things. And like you say, it's the warming up and warming down, which is probably something interesting to talk about. So I do a little bit of track work from time to time as well. And one of the things I love about athletics is that, again, I know it's all rank amateur stuff, but you'd be warming up for probably longer than you would be by the time you're actually running. So all that some mobility in doing it. And you're right. I think that as I've got older, the importance of doing that before and after, and then making sure you're not so sore that you don't want to go back there for another 2 weeks is pretty
I
vital.
think athletics in terms of a warm up is probably quite a good one to sort of look at. I mean, I do quite a lot of it in my sessions. I call it hidden cardio. So you're sort of getting yourself moving, you're getting your heart rate up, but really without realizing you're doing it. So a lot of the drills that sort of runners will do before, like the hopping stuff and the swinging the legs back and forwards and that, it's all great flexibility, but it's also a little bit of that hidden cardio again. For someone, obviously, once they get into their training, they go full gas and they're going nuts with laps and trail running and stuff. But in terms of just the average Joe on the street, those drills are really good for sort of getting your heart rate up, getting your flexibility going, and really, a hidden cardio element. People tend to come to me not really wanting to run a lot because they're obviously PT work in a small area. They think that we're going to do a lot of weights. So if I say to someone, go for a run, they look at me as if I'm crazy. So I tend to try and target in other ways, and the athletic drills definitely work. They're good. So many of my clients listen to this, they've just me. But yeah, it does work. It does work quite well. So moving into lockdown then. So obviously then everything hit the fan, as it were. We all got told to stay indoors. Where did you go from there?
Well, it's interesting because if I reflect back on it, it was a very strange period. So first of all, I think I had COVID-19 at the end of March, so I was sort of flattened out for 3 weeks. So not well, locked in, isolated, all that kind of stuff. So there was a little period where everything kind of stopped. So that wasn't ideal, but I was really sort of motivated at the point I felt well enough to go and start doing stuff to slowly sort of go and cover it. So the hours a day worth of exercise, I was going for a walk, so steadily kind of building that back up. And in all honesty, I felt quite good for that because I'm not a massive drinker. I'm not really a sort of binge eater, but actually it sort of imposed healthier routines. So my fruit intake and generally kind of doing things in a better way probably perked up. So as with many people, I've got reasonably young kids. So there's some sort of Joe Wicks kind of stuff going on and videos of different things. So the weird thing for me, Mike, is actually, I think from sort of April to May, I think that was probably about as fit as I've been, to be completely honest, because there's nothing else to do. So you really focus on it. And
I think that's the thing that people have not had the work to focus on. They've not had the going out for days out to focus on. So fitness for a lot of people became their focus. You mentioned Joe Wicks there. What he did was amazing. Obviously, getting the nation moving, and just that focus on healthier eating, healthier living, getting out doing your hours exercise a day. I've never seen so many cyclists on the road in all my life. Because it's I think everyone wanted something to focus on, because I think everyone in life needs something to focus on, which is normally their job or their family. Obviously the job was taken away, so then other things happen, and I think fitness sort of took over for a lot of people, which is really good to see. Especially for me as a PT and as a fitness professional, getting people doing more and moving more is basically the aim of my job. So as much as closing and things like that didn't really affect my business side, obviously it affected my face-to-face stuff. But actually all my clients were happy to move on to Zoom, were happy to do online sessions. Before this, I'd never had an online product, and now I've got more online products, face-to-face products. So I think it really sort of kickstarted the nation a little bit in terms of you can still be fit, you can still be healthy. You don't necessarily need the gym, because a lot of people use the gym as a social aspect and a mental health aspect as well. But you don't need to be slogging the guts out in the gym for hours and hours and hours on end. You can do a quick 20-minute workout at home as a benefit. I think a lot of people have realised that and worked out that there is ways to be fit and healthy and strong.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, as you said, when you've got literally nothing else to do, you've got choices, haven't you? So you can sit there doing lots of very bad and unhealthy stuff, which doesn't really do an awful lot for you in those situations. Or you can try and add a bit of, good things into it. And, going for a walk, reacquainting yourself with nature. As you say, with cycling, there are just oodles of people kind of, traveling our streets nearby, all those little bits. And even kind of doing that with your partner, family, whatever it be. So in a strange way, I think it kind of was kind of helpful in the most sort of bizarre way, because it just forced me to kind of go and do that in a different way.
So how do you? One thing I just want to ask you. Obviously, I'm from the north, you're from the south, and probably little different worlds in terms of the landscape around us. Definitely for me, especially I'm obviously close to the beach. how did you feel your area adapted to the lockdown being a bit more of a, I mean, are you in a designated area in terms of city, or is it more?
Yeah, so I'm sort of in the sort of southwest, sort of Surrey, London suburbs. So we've got lots of big parks and those sort of things nearby. So Richmond Park's, a couple of miles away. So you've got plenty of things to go and do. So obviously some of those were closed for a little while, and there's some trails and other things. So yeah, not that bad, Mike. To be quite honest,
No.
I think if
Yeah.
you were kind of in a more heavily built up area, you'd go and you would feel it different. But the thing, obviously, down here you noticed was, the traffic levels dipping, so you can kind of hear birds. Everything kind of felt very different. That was nice. So actually, if you're going for a walk on normal streets, then and everything just felt that little bit quieter and calmer, which aren't words you normally associate with an urban environment.
I mean, obviously, we live by the sea, so in the summer especially, it's quite busy. But just going out for a walk, right in the early days of lockdown, there was literally, you could walk down the beach and see one or two people, if that. And again, just a nice slower pace of life, a nice quieter life. And it's quite enjoyable, despite everything that's going on in the world. So at the time of recording this then, gyms are due to open tomorrow. What's your thoughts on moving forward and coming out of lockdown and getting back into fitness and health and everything going back to normality in that respect? Or not normality, but as much as.
Yeah, so fairly optimistic. So obviously there's some of the sort of recreational things. So I'm a diabolical golf player and I like a bit of that from time to time, and tennis is my main thing. So from whatever the last sort of 6-8 weeks, all that stuff was kind of being opened up, even if it was a bit odd. That was great because I've been able to do more of those things, and competitions and leagues and all that kind of stuff are reopening. So from a sort of focus point of view, hopefully some of the work I've done in lockdown will help me maintain that. And when you're in the peak of summer, you've just got more daylight, so more opportunity to go and do stuff. So as I said, I could try and stretch out on my bike and go and do some slightly different things. So as I said, you've got these lovely parks nearby. As I said, I'm a pretty average cyclist, but you enjoy those sort of things. So just really making the best of the seasons. I think that's probably the bit I'd say I kind of think as we kind of have this chat, Mike, I kind of adapt what I'm doing based on how the weather conditions are like to be. So there's a chance to be outdoors, focus on that. If there's things that I like doing, kind of focus on those. And then if the weather's average and you can't get out, then there's more probably, doing stuff at home and probably gym kind of stuff to kick through.
Yeah. I think the options have been opened up. I think, like we said before, I think people have realised that there's other things out there than just going to the gym. There is getting on a bike, there is going for a walk, there is going for a run. There's outdoor gyms, there's outdoor classes. And I think things have moved on. Quite a big question then. Do you think everyone will sustain it?
Going forwards? Yeah. Well, I think with a lot of stuff, what you'll always find is your behaviours will split. So there'll be some people that just be desperate to get back to the way they were before, and I'm sure if they were doing some healthier things, some of those things will get dropped. But I'm optimistic, Mike. I think for a lot of people, if you've had a chance to kind of bed a habit in, and 2-3 months is kind of a fair time, isn't it, to kind of go and do that? I think people will stick with it. So I mean, you'll probably see that with some of your clients. If you've had people on Zoom, maybe they're quite happy to do that, or they might be happy to do face-to-face or things.
Yeah,
so
it's been quite interesting because obviously everybody went on Zoom initially straight off, and then now I've got a mix of both. Some people are doing a face-to-face session a week plus a couple of Zoom sessions a week. Some people are still fully on Zoom. Some people are fully face-to-face. It's nice. It's sort of given me a different challenge. Because obviously doing a Zoom session is totally different than doing a face-to-face session in terms of not so much obviously the exercise you do change because I can't use any of my equipment, that sort of thing, but just in terms of the way things have to be explained and the way things have to be executed, it's been quite good. But I think it's definitely going to change the world of being a fitness professional because it's changed my business massively already, and I think I never had an online product before. It will stay because it's shown me that it can work and it's shown me that it can be done. There was online PTs who have been saying this for years, that everyone should go online and everyone should do an online product. But then I think the ones that obviously work in gyms, it's hard for them to do an online thing because they don't really have the audience as much because they have the gym clients and that's all they really have. So it'd be interesting to see what does change in the fitness world. I'd like to think it will carry on thriving because I think everyone's now got other avenues to explore. Everyone can go online, everyone can go face to face, everyone can do an outdoor session, everyone can do a gym session. So there's a lot more out there, and it's a lot more accessible. I think people realise how accessible fitness is, and that thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think there's a bit about a habit. So from a sort of formation of it, if you've been doing, classes or whatever it is over those 2 or 3 months, to suddenly stop, that's going to feel odd. So I'm pretty optimistic you're going to get that. And the other bit, and I'm probably a little biased from a sort of personal experience point of view, but I think having had what I think was COVID a bit sort of earlier on, then there's lots of sort of guidance that would say actually being in good shape and being in good condition is only going to help your resistance to a whole manner of different things, and obviously the nutrition, all that kind of good stuff. So I think that there's habit formation, so people have done things, and then I think there's another bit that says actually you want to go and do it anyway, because if you're worried that more could be coming or other problems, the best thing you can probably do is to go and look after yourself. So I'd agree with you on that bit, Mike. I think the other bit that's really good is there's just the sort of diversity. So, and obviously you have a lot of success with your clients who are sort of my age and above. And one of the bits that's got to be good about that is, some people want to be seen and want to be active and want to be out there, and actually be able to do that in the privacy of your own home. If you're looking to kind of start off or do something a bit different, actually that's quite good as well. So if anything, it's kind of given people more choices and made it more easy and accessible. So hopefully that really helps with the sort of health of the nation altogether, which would be a good thing for everyone.
Yeah, it certainly would. Hopefully long may it continue. Cool, right, I think that'll probably wrap that up enough. Very good. And thanks everyone for listening. If you want to know more about us, all the details will be in the show notes, and we will hear from you next time. Cheers.
Thanks a lot.